Hello everyone. So today we are at the World Delhi Book Fair 2026. We have Mr. Yogesh Shrivastava, the author of the book Resilience of the Unbreakable Spirit. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
So to start today, we will be having a fun interactive session with him. Was there a particular question about life or ambition that stayed with you and made you write the book?
Yeah, so basically, resilience was the thought which was centered to my mind when I started thinking about this particular book. And I was just pondering over one question how, all these things can be transferred to the posterity. So I thought of writing this book.
What made you choose a moment of stillness and isolation, a deserted airport, as the starting point for Rohan's transformation?
So that's a good question. So isolation gives you space. It gives you a break to reflect on yourself, your journey, and how you should respond to certain situations in life. What has transpired, and what is their way forward. And airport is a place where you have the entire canvas of human emotions, the entire rainbow, and various hues of all the shades. Wherein somebody is going to meet loved ones, somebody is going to attend some party, some function, some social event, wedding, somebody is going to have leisure travel with the family, somebody is having somebody sick and he wants to see him or her, somebody has lost his dear ones. So if you look at people at the airport, you see that the entire canvas of human emotions, that is the only place where you can see wide ranging of emotions and their hues and the stress people go through, their joy, their happiness, so all these things. So I thought probably this is a good starting point, and if I can capture the emotions and the feelings not only of the people who are traveling but also the staff who is catering to them, the services they offer, they are also under tremendous stress. Sometimes they would be giving nice services, you'll be very happy with the services. Sometimes because of the work pressure, they will be giving the kind of services which probably will not give you a lot of comfort. So if you capture all this through your pen, through your lens, it's amazing. So I just tried to capture the human emotions. So that is why I chose airport as the point.
That is quite an interesting answer. Why did you feel fiction was the right medium to explore resilience rather than a non-fiction or a self-help format?
That again is a very good question. See what happens when you write a self-help book, you preach.
Yes.
हम लोग कहते हैं ना हिंदी में ज्ञान देते हैं. People have plenty of gyan. Nobody needs gyan these days. What they need is, how they can infer certain situations and how they can learn the life lessons. So when you preach something, you give your realities. And in this world, there are no rights, no wrongs. Your reality is different from my reality in the same situation. So what I wanted to convey to the readers is that whatever is the reality, whatever is the situation, you reflect on it, take a pause, reflect on it, and draw your own conclusions, your own inferences based your own perception of reality. So it is a non-judgmental, non-biased, but it provokes thoughts. It makes you think about what is happening in your own story, in your own journey. So I wanted it to be engaging, engrossing, and I'm very happy to share with you that is what has been liked by readers, which is reflected in the raving book reviews which this book is receiving globally.
That's really great. Yeah, even as a reader, I would prefer a non-fiction book any day over a non-fiction. So that gives an advantage to that. Rohan is professionally accomplished but emotionally distant. What does his journey say about the cost of unchecked ambition?
Yeah, so what is unchecked ambition? Unchecked ambition is something which, if you keep on chasing success, when success becomes a mirage, it becomes a destination, then you have unchecked ambition. Because you achieve something but you are not satisfied. You think there is more to achieve. Then you run for it. Then you achieve it, then still you are not happy and satisfied. So that sense of achievement is not there. So it becomes a mirage. right? So in the Rohan's case, uh, what I have tried to convey is that success is each moment is, whatever you achieve is can be termed as successful, and it's a journey. It's not a destination, right? So one need to balance about the ambition and other aspects of life. So that is what I wanted to convey.
So, what is that one thing according to you today's generation should follow that they have a balance of both? Like one habit or one, something that they could include in their routine to maintain that.
So that's a tough one because then I'll be probably giving advice which I refrain from. Normally, I don't give advice to people. What I would say that if you can identify your purpose, your ikigai, right? Probably you will not find into that vicious circle of chasing the mirage. So you understand, everybody is unique. All of us are unique. We have our own purpose of life, or we have our own ikigai. We just need to go deep and find out what gives us happiness, and just follow that.
How does isolation in the story act not just as a challenge but also a teacher?
So as I mentioned earlier, isolation gives you space to, because there is no noise. So it gives you space to think, to reflect, and also to plan. So that is why I said, the isolation gives you an opportunity to think over what you have to do in future. Reflection is very important because there is so much of noise in our lives. We have time for everything except thinking. We have time for everything except reflecting on our own journey. So isolation gives you that space and that time.
The book presents resilience as a quiet endurance rather than the dramatic heroism. How do you personally define resilience today?
So resilience is a misunderstood word. People think that showing heroism or being strong is resilience. Uh, my own perception about resilience is through your vulnerabilities, through your realities, through acceptance, through surrender, you become resilient. So if you grow through what you are going through, then you are resilient. So true resilience lies in accepting things as they are and keep on moving forward.
How does the story show that hope can coexist with pain rather than replace it?
Yeah. So hope and pain, the pain is something which is very essential. It will always be there in life. So you cannot imagine a situation where there is no pain. It would happen only if there is no life. So now if the pain is there, what is the solution? How do you take care of that? How do you handle that? So it's the hope and the faith. So, and hope is something, which actually drives people to do something, to take some action. If there is no hope, then you will die before you are actually dead. So hope keeps you moving forward. Hope keeps you taking challenges as they come to you. And then how to manage those pains or how to handle those pains. So you cannot imagine a situation which is painless. There will be pain, but if you have hope, then you can handle it beautifully. You can manage it beautifully.
The pandemic forced the world into an unexpected pause. How did that pause reshape your understanding of success and fulfillment?
Yeah, so that was the time when, as I mentioned earlier, that gave the powers to think about the purpose of life. Before the pandemic, all of us were in rat race. After, obviously, during that period also, after that also, but the entire perspective has changed post the pandemic. After that experience, people are more, you know, they can relate to life's true meaning, the holistic living. So the pandemic has given, that perspective, that dimension of life, and that awareness. So self-awareness is again one thing which normally happens only when you are facing a crisis. So that is the contribution of pandemic, and yeah, that is how it has helped.
What lessons from the lockdown years do you believe individuals and leaders must consciously carry forward?
So again, what was unique about the lockdown was that everybody was in isolation. Even if you were, in your home, you were confined to your home, you could not move out. That gave you time again to think about your own life and how fragile a life could be, because you saw what was happening in the world. People used to lose loved ones. There was no control. No, everybody was under stress. The medical support system had crumbled. Doctors were losing their own life. I mean, there was hardly any difference between the VIPs and the common man. Everybody was equally. So, pandemic gave that particular realization that the human life is fragile, and that is why it brought that change in the perspective that people started loving and living both. Initially, it was, yeah, of course. I would say, for lack of appropriate words, that before pandemic we were not having that clarity. While we used to see death all around, but then the way the pandemic brought in those elements of fragility of life, it actually shook the humanity.
How does the book gently address mental health without turning the narrative into instruction or diagnosis?
So again, what happens? Mental health is very very sensitive issue, and most of us, though it might not be manifest, obvious, but then I think this is overly neglected area. Sometimes we take, the mood swings and all those things very very casually, which happens within our family, with the loved ones, with the social network, with our friends, with our neighbors, and we don't take it seriously. And then what happens? It keeps on accumulating, and one day it blasts, and then you realize that okay, this was something which I was ignoring, but this was because of some trigger or the other, it has blasted now. So this is really a mental health problem. By that time, it has already aggravated, and aggravated to the extent that you might have seen a lot of incidents of celebrities taking their own lives, suicides, and all those things were happening. So it all happens because we tend to ignore all these small indicators. So in this book, I have tried to convey that message, and it is conveyed very subtly, without dramatizing it, without pointing out about the mental health, how the mental health is taking a toll on the family, and eventually what it led to. So it was by design that I thought I will not dramatize it. I will let it evolve over a period of time. But this is very very sensitive and important issue and message which I want to convey through this one.
With decades of leadership and experience, how did your professional life influence the emotional realism of this novel?
Yeah, so professional life, I always have been a strong believer of emotional intelligence. That if you carry very high emotional intelligence, you can carry your teams well and take care of them, because your resources, your team, they are not machines. They are not individuals. We are all very very complex, knit to each other. So if the employee or your team member uh, is not comfortable, he is undergoing certain kind of challenges, mental health, somebody's sickness in the family, some financial troubles, And if you don't have that emotional intelligence, probably you end up doing more harm than the good, not only to that individual but also to your entire team and thereby to your organization. So that thought of emotional intelligence, I have, that uh, perspective, that thinking, that belief, that has actually helped me in linking in this book.
What parallels do you see between leading organizations and leading oneself through crisis?
So what happens in organizations? You are bound by certain boundaries, and you need certain approvals. So, howsoever high you might be, howsoever high place you might be, there are certain restrictions. So, in organizations and individual, that is the basic difference, that you can't express yourself the way you want. Whereas in individual, you are the owner. So those boundaries are not there. Of course, the societal boundaries are there, that will always remain there. But largely, you can navigate your life the way you want. So that is the main difference in complex situations. Less freedom is there in your professional life. You enjoy more freedom, and unfortunately, people enjoy more freedom in personal life, in individual life, but they don't exercise it. They exercise it in corporate life, they overdo, and they don't, manage their personal life, their individual life, where they have absolute freedom, and they don't navigate it the way they could. So that's the basic difference.
How can leaders today balance performance expectations with emotional intelligence and empathy?
So, as I mentioned earlier, for leaders, it's very, very important that they should carry very high emotional intelligence and empathy, and especially in this complex world, which is called VUCA world, and more so because of the technological involvement with the AI being there, and with the Gen Z being your teammates, with the social media having its own influence and impression on the lives of the people, with the attention span squeezing. It is life is becoming very, very complex. So in this complex world, if you don't have the emotional stability, if you don't have the emotional intelligence, it becomes very, very challenging to lead your teams, your people, your resources.
So we'll do a fun kind of thing right now. You have to finish the thought. Like I'll say a sentence and you have to complete the blanks.
Okay.
True resilience shows up
When you hit the ground,
ambition becomes hollow without
ambitions will become hollow without purpose.
silence often teaches us
Silence teaches you a lot of things, but it gives you space to reflect because there is no noise.
healing begins the moment we
Come again, please.
healing begins the moment we
So the simplest word would be we realize.
hope survives because
There is more to life.
that's a really interesting one. If a reader is navigating loss, burnout, or emotional distance, how do you hope this book supports them?
Yeah, so basically the book is aimed at addressing all these challenges and issues only. And as I mentioned, the book does not preach you anything that you should do this or you should do that. There are various circumstances, there are various situations wherein the protagonist is caught in, and then he thinks not only from his own perspective, because when things go wrong, when things are tough on you, you feel bad as a human being. That's natural, and then you start thinking from your own perspective, but then you don't think from the other person's perspective. So what this book tells you is that whatever is the situation, you be non-judgmental, be non-biased. Of course, you take your own realities, your own perception, but then you think from the other person's perspective also. So that lightens you, and that also gives you better understanding of certain decisions or certain things happening. Secondly, normally we all complain that this has happened to us. Actually, nothing happens to you, good or bad. It happens for you. So if you have that perspective, that okay, if this adversity has come to me or this tough situation has come to me, it has not come to me, it has come for me. Now here is an opportunity for you to encash that opportunity. Think about it. I am today talking to you because certain things happened, and then I thought, okay, if this thing has happened for me, not against me, and that meant video and all that. So there are situations, there will be circumstances wherein you will not be very comfortable. Things will not happen as per your expectations, as per your desires. The outcomes will be different. But if you can take a pause, take a step back, think, reflect, and take it further forward, take it as an opportunity that this is something has happened for you, there is something good for you. You only have to understand and then take yourself further forward. So that is the message of the entire book.
Did writing this book change the way you personally relate to resilience and purpose?
Yes, of course. While I believed in resilience broadly, whatever is already mentioned in the book, but then when I was writing, I was also reflecting through my journey, because this book is based on certain true life experiences. Of course, in a fiction form, but then it's based on certain true life experiences. So while I was going through those experiences, then I was getting that realization. Probably what I thought at that point of time, and now I am writing the same incident, same experience, I am more resilient. I can see a reason behind it. I can see the other person's point of view and his perspective. So writing book was itself quite a learning.
Any concluding message you have that the readers should experience, while reading the book? Any inner shift they can experience while reading the book?
Yeah, so while reading the book, it's an emotional journey because, as I mentioned, and because it is non-judgmental, non-biased. What I would only urge and encourage the readers is whatever happens to them, as I mentioned, is happening for them. And more than that, what is life? Life is 10% of what happens, and 90% is how you respond to it, how you react to it. So, if things are not as per your plan, take a pause, think back, reflect, be resilient, and keep moving.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.